Hi, Amy B.
Hi, Jodi D.
So I just got a notification that my mouse battery is very low.
Perfect.
We're live everywhere, but hold on. Now we're live on Instagram too. Amy, who are you and where are you and what do you do?
I am Amy Burke. Where am I? I am on a very small island south of Sicily, south of the northern tip of Tunisia called Pantelleria, where I have one of my chiropractic practices. I am a chiropractor. I have two active practices, one in northern Italy and one in southern Italy. And because I really believe in joy, I teach chiropractors a chiropractic approach called biogeometric integration, which brings me tremendous amounts of joy and delight and pleasure.
Me too. Cool. You know, Amy was one of the first of all, if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Jodi Dinnerman, the founder and creator of all things staffless practice, and I have coined myself an expert mistake maker and solution creator. And Amy was one of the people, as I was becoming a grown-up in chiropractic, who gave me permission to really explore joy and think outside the way out, get rid of the box, really, just get rid of it altogether. And I would watch Amy move through the world and be like, you can do that? So tell me a little bit more, Amy. And as you do this, I'm going to go plug my mouse in because now I'm nervous. Tell me more about what makes you an ambassador of the joy-filled way.
Well, this is one of the first times I have fully embraced my new title as Emissary of Joy. And I'm very grateful for that, Jodi. I believe that we all have a choice of how to spend our time and our days and our minutes. And that if we are not experiencing joy in a lot of them, that we are all active creators in our life. And so if you don't love what's happening every day, you need to change something. And the world is so filled with inputs at this moment and resources and coaches and people that there is no longer an excuse to be miserable. It's just like, do something, ask for help. And you have created such an extraordinary platform for people to get help. I remember our early conversations. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing in practice, business-wise. I knew the clinical part was the easy part for me. I had no clue. And you were like, I can help you. I love opening new offices. And I was like, do it. I don't know what I'm doing. If all I have to do is show up and take care of people, I'm good. The second I have to deal with the other stuff, it was scary. And I feel like you gave me permission to not do things the way, I wasn't really taught anything, so I can't say that. But I did pretty much everything on the fly. And in a situation where it felt like the stakes were pretty high. It was New York City. It was the Upper East Side. People cared. And I was told that I couldn't do what I was doing the way I was doing it by clients who felt very protective of me and wanted me to succeed and wanted to be able to come to my office to get on the table. And I just said, you know what? There are 8 million people in this city. And if I can't find enough people who can participate in what my vision is, then I need to go somewhere else. And I was so clear on that. And I'm so grateful for that clarity because I honestly don't know exactly where it came from. And I really milked it and did things exactly the way I either wanted to or needed to make it work in the situation and circumstances that I had. And they were unique and everybody's are. And, I'm special in that there's nobody else like me or there's nobody who is me, but I'm not unique, or I'm unique, but I'm not special. That's what I want to say. And we are all that. We are all unique, and we are all not special, and we're all just figuring out as we go along. And if what you are doing in practice doesn't excite you, or you don't like doing it, do something different.
Do something else now, because you're touching people and you're sharing that misery.
Options.
Right?
There's just too many options to be miserable.
Too many options to be miserable. I remember the first time a practice member picked up the phone and was like, "I'm at the chiropractor. Can I call you back?" And I'm like, "You don't call me Jodi? I'm the chiropractor to you? I'm not special?" No, guys, we're on the list between bananas and diapers. We're just the chiropractor. We're just the whatever, fill in the blanks. So I love this question, Amy. If you were going to look back on the old you 10 plus years ago, and I knew you 10 plus years ago, and I really liked that part of you too, what would you whisper to yourself? What would the nudge be to yourself 10 years back?
I feel like something like, don't be attached to the way anything is going to look. Like you can't imagine what's going to happen. Don't even try.
Is that true for everybody or just you?
I don't know. Not my business. Right.
What you just did. That's you. Like you're so clear. Like you just know. I'd be like, well, let me just get into the zone of gray with that answer. You're so clear. How has your practice trajectory varied from what you thought it was going to be?
Well, I mean, I started out in Italy, and then I went to New York, and then I created a beautiful practice in New York. I loved it. And then we had an opportunity to go to Italy for a year as a family with my husband and daughter. And so we did that, and that was unexpected. And when we left New York, I don't know that I knew I wasn't coming back, but I feel like everybody in my practice knew I wasn't coming back. And it just keeps morphing, and it morphs to be a reflection of who I am and who I am surrounded by. And I just feel like when I was in my developmental process time of, being taught or modeled how to be a professional in the healing arts, if we want to say that, it was so directive, and it felt like these walls were really narrow. And if you wanted to have a successful practice, you had to do these things. And and it was the same narrowness about being in practice as it was about the technique or the approach that we were offered. It just felt like, do it like the guy on the stage tells you, or you're doing it wrong. And every cell in my body was like, that's not what I'm going to do. So either I'm just going to be an abject failure in their eyes, or I'm going to own the fact that what I am and what I have to offer to the world is going to be totally different from this guy walking around the stage in a suit, yelling at me what I need to do. And I'm so grateful that I had the presence of being to be able to say, that does not represent who I am or who I want to be. And so I never took that on as I'm going to do it the way they say it. And I created my own thing. And that has been so liberating for me. And it changes every few years, really.
So what do you say to somebody who, I'll sit in an audience and hear the guy on the stage in the suit, and I'll be like, I hate everything that this person is saying, but how do I own the voice of reason that's saying, Jodi, this is not this is not your thing. This is his thing being placed on you. How do you, because that's one of I'm trying to put my finger on what I love most about you. And one of the things is, you know that you have certainty about you. That's what it is. How do you get that?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know how I get that, because I just have it. But I don't feel, again, I don't feel like I'm special in that. If the person, I can take things away from the person on the stage, and I can honestly reflect and say, if I were to do that, it would probably help me in the following ways, whether it's to be more organized, or to be more financially accountable, or to be more whatever. I can recognize my own areas of weakness, but I also am very clear on what I resonate with and how I want to spend my time. And basically, when I'm hearing those people in the suits, I know that that suit wasn't made for me. It was made for them. And so it's a matter of finding the suit that fits and that I'm comfortable walking through the world with. And for sure, it's different for each person. And, you know, I mean, we all know you can't be comfortable in somebody else's shoes, but I don't think you can really be comfortable in somebody else's practice management either. And I think the difference of 25 years ago, when you and I were in school, is that there was really a one size fits all practice model of this is what success means. And in the last 25 years, not only technique or practice management or, you know, the way we do things, there's been so much more of a hive mind of trying to empower each person to figure out, what is it that makes you unique? What is it that makes you want to get out of bed? And what is it that makes you excited about going to the office? And if you don't have all of those things that are really clear for you, try on a whole bunch of different things and then gravitate towards the ones that get you excited. Because if you're not excited, life is really boring.
Not only that, but like, what if you're miserable in practice and your hands are on people? And
well, that no good.
No good, no bueno.
No bueno.
How important is it to be in a joy-filled state on a regular basis?
Well, I think it's fundamental because, again, we don't know how much time we have here, Jodi. I have a spoiler alert: we're all going to die, and so all we know is that we have this very minute. So if you walk into your practice, whether it is your space or you are working for somebody else, and obviously the rules or the obligations or the dynamics or the expectations are different. But even if you are in somebody else's space, that really resonates and speaks of and to that person, you still will have your own nest carved out in that space. And whether it's the scents that you put in it, or the music that you turn on when you walk in, or wearing something that makes you smile, whether it's a scarf or a pair of earrings or a ring, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, I have my face cloths that I use. I hand pick, because when I go to the drawer and pick them out, it, like, I want to feel that spark of joy. Like, oh, I love this one. I'd forgotten about you. And that sounds ridiculous, but I spend a lot of time in my practice. And so just to have that moment of like, oh, I love that. It makes me super happy. And that to me is important. Like, just cultivating those little bits that when I look over and see something on my desk or on my table, that it sparks a smile in me. And that I give myself time in my schedule to be able to have the opportunity to observe and interact with people, because that's really important to me. It didn't used to be, but it is now. And so that is one way how my practice has changed, is I have more time with people. And that's a reflection of who I have become, and that might change again.
You know, one of the things I love most about having a puppy is she gives me permission to rest every day and to take naps and cuddle and just do something just because I want love, right? You've always given me permission to own my creative spark in the world and name it. Like, this is something that, like, I totally get, you go into the drawer of face cloths and you see one that you haven't had on the table in a while, and that sparks a little joy. I get that feeling. So I want to just, for those who are listening to this, what I'm saying is that Amy inspires me. And it's so important that we have inspiring lights in our world. And she's one of my personal friends who I experience this with. I need that personally. I need it professionally. Like, that's the person who has what I want when it comes to chiropractic. That's the person who has what I want when it comes to being a woman in the world and representing motherhood, whatever it might be. One of the people who I have had the pleasure of crossing paths with was Dr. Sue Brown, and she became hands down one of my favorite people on the planet, still is. And she introduced me to biogeometric integration, which gave me, it's like I took these glasses off and then which weren't really fitting anymore. They were feeling a little blurry. And then she gave me these glasses and I'm like, holy crap, everything looks clear now, right? When it comes to chiropractic, when it comes to understanding why the body was doing what it was doing in that way, in that moment. And biggest thing for me was understanding how to best support the person. And, you know, take this, like, if you're a PT and ND and whatever it is that you do, my next question for Amy is tell me about your teachings with biogeometric integration. Tell me about what you're doing there. And I want you to hear what Amy's about to share with us, no matter what you do in the world. If you sell bananas at a supermarket, listen to what Amy's about to say, because it's going to change the way that you do that thing. I'm going to go grab my mouse again. Amy, please share it with us about biogeometric integration.
Happy to. When I met Sue, again, it was this sort of, I was looking for my person who I could learn from and emulate and admire and cherish in a mentor role. And I had met a lot of chiropractors, a lot of teachers that I valued what they knew, but I didn't necessarily value who they were in the world, or people that I really valued who they were, but what they had to offer me in terms of teaching didn't feel new or exciting or rich. And I met Sue, and like, for me, Sue was permission personified.
Right.
So if you saw something in someone, or you felt something in a body, or you wanted to adapt what you were learning from her to a way that would fit in with your practice, the answer was always,
yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to do that.
It was usually cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yep. And it was so beautiful because I felt for so long that these people in a teaching position or teaching role, they were really there to teach their students how to be like them. And I never got that from Sue. Sue was like, let's figure out what you have that no one else has, and let's figure out how to magnify and market that. And then we're going to put it in this framework of biogeometric integration, which is just understanding how the body, as in nature, will geometrically distort in order to store potential that we have access to at a later date and time. And it's
wait,
like,
can I say, I'm going to interrupt you. I want to say something. So to my point earlier, where you give people permission to, like, be who they are in the world. And so with Sue's ability to say to me and to Amy in the same breath, what you have to say is just as valid as what I have to say is, right? That's what she would say. Yeah. Your truth is just as valid as my truth. And she holds all of these experiences and degrees and platform speaking opportunities and all this stuff, right? For someone like me at that time, it made me feel like, am I good enough to be able to say, oh, this is what I think? Like, are people going to laugh at me? Are they, is this the minute that I step up and I put on the uncomfortable skin and I grow into it? Yes, it is, Jodi. With somebody like Amy, it's the moment where it's like, finally, somebody's giving me permission to say that what I'm seeing here and what I'm certain about is just as great as what everybody else in the room is seeing and is certain about. That, to me, allowing, are you with me? You understand what I'm saying? Allowing the liberty of, it's all true. Allowing the omnipresence of truth in the teaching in the classroom is, for me, a great leadership quality, probably my favorite. And Sue freaking embodied it. And she would embody it in, like, Lee jeans and white sneakers and a t-shirt, right? Like, she was the most humble, unassuming person I had ever met. And that gave me even more permission to be like, okay, maybe what I do have to say is worth something. She was the first person to give me permission to be great. Honest to God, that's true. So I just needed to say that I felt so inspired when you're sharing, to just circle it back around. So please continue.
Well, I just think that's the word that you started with is where I feel like all of that kind of meets up, which is that allowance. And it's so important, and it is as important for it doesn't matter what your title is. It's allowing you to allowing you to believe what you know, or to know what you believe. And it doesn't matter. And it's like, whatever you say stands. And I believe you, I trust you. And from there, it's like having somebody who knows what they're talking about say, I trust you, is a huge gift. And it, for me, was quite the opposite of almost every other seminar experience I had had, where it was like, I'll tell you what you need to feel, and then you'll believe me. And then
we shrink.
Yes, exactly. But that's the goal.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. And that's why I was so resistant to so much of it. And when it was Karen Joseph, she said, because I was wondering out loud about how I might find my person, my mentor. And we were talking, because there were a lot of people that were talking about really interesting stuff, but they were always at the center of it. And it just felt like there wasn't really room to be anything other than either their minion or their shadow, or just repeat back what they said. And none of that felt interesting to me. And so I was talking to Karen, and she said, I think you need to meet Sue Brown. And so I did. And she was absolutely right. And it has, so you asked me what I do, I teach, but what I really do is empower people to listen to what they feel and know. And then we have this lovely schematic that we add into it, which gives a depth and an understanding, but really it just, codifies what people feel. And so
codify, what is that?
It's like it gives substance to it.
Right.
And so it's not just, oh, I think this or I feel this. It's like, I feel this and that makes sense because of all this.
Backs it up.
And this is the geometry that we talk about in biogeometric integration. So it's a beautiful, deep, rich, intense, wonderful body of work. And there's a lightness to it and a logic to it and a gentleness to it, all of it that makes it super interesting and open. And I love that about it. And I love teaching it because I love watching people who have these skills and gifts, but they don't quite know how to apply them. And because they haven't been told, you're really brilliant, show me what you're feeling. They've been told, if tell me what I already told you, because that's our teaching model in chiropractic college for the most. Yeah, I just want to hear you say what I told you. And so to watch people learn to trust themselves and learn to hear that inner voice, there's so many beautiful parts of just watching people step into their own ownership of their skills and talents. And I absolutely love facilitating that. And that's my way of doing what you do when you're coaching people and helping them step into their magnificence in their office or in their business. And it's such a beautiful moment of really meeting people where they are. And I was going to say earlier, it feels to me like this whole world of coaching has changed so dramatically, where it used to be, do what I tell you to, and you'll do it right. And now it's, you client, tell me, coach, what your vision is. And then I'm going to help you come up with a strategy and a scaffold to help you get to that spot. It's completely changed. And it's so much more interesting.
I'm always interviewing coaches. We've got a bunch of coaches on my team these days. And it's so true in my experience. And I don't know why this is, that coaches don't listen. Like, one of the greatest things that I can do as a chiropractor, as a mom, as a coach, as a friend, as a wife, whatever, is shut up, right? Like, tell me, let me ask you some really good questions.
Yeah.
Let me be your master question asker, right? As opposed to, I'm going to give you a monologue for the next 23 minutes to tell you what you need to do with your new patients in your office. Snore. Is there anything that you want to say to the thousands of people listening to this that you haven't already said?
Well, I feel like it's super important. I watch daily in some of the groups I'm in, people asking for, they're basically looking for permission to go out on their own, or they're looking for a schematic of how to do things. And what you have put together, Jodi Dinnerman, is so beautiful. And I truly think that there is something for everyone, and that it seems like you're just kind of unstoppable. So that once you get your stuff like it's good, that most people would stop there and just kind of hang out there. You seem like you don't ever do that. You just go, you're always up leveling. And one thing that I find very generous about you is that I don't think that's your expectation for everybody. And I think that, again, that's the part of being a great coach, is that's your deal. That's your jam, is I always want to get better. I always want to upgrade. I always want to get to the next level. I'm platinum now. I want to get to triple platinum plus. And that's fantastic if that's what you want. But I don't think that that's your directive to people that are in your program. I think that you just want them to be able to absorb the things that are useful for them. And then it's like, take what you want, and the rest of it, it's not for you until it is. And what I know about you is that it's always going to get better. It's always going to be working better. It's always going to be tested. It's always going to be proven and tried. And if there's something that's not working, you are on it with your staff and team to figure out, how do we make this better? If this isn't working, what do we need to do next? And I think that's a beautiful quality that is driven by a service model. It's driven by your creativity and your absolute unwillingness to ever stop and be still, except for when you're holding your dog.
She's so pretty. I don't feel like any of it's mine, Amy. I feel like, well, I know that it's not. This is not me doing this stuff. It is absolutely me getting out of the way so that it can just continue to evolve. I am the instigator of this creative flow. And if you're my client, Amy, and you say, Jodi, I was going through this, just like what Sue did, right? I was going through this and I just felt like it should go right where it went left. My job as the orchestrator of all of this is to lean into your curiosity about that and explore what happens if we do go left, or we make a right when you're supposed to go left. And that's true for running a team. The irony is now I have a team of 15 plus. That is ironic. What? And then I'm like, they said, Jodi, if you want to do this thing, you need a team. No. I'm not going to do it. I don't want a team. You need a team, Jodi. So then I got all the books and studied, how do I do the team thing? I am constantly trying to figure this stuff out. And the next piece just keeps showing up and showing up and showing up. This week on Staffless Practice Campus, I'm still in private practice. I'll always be until my hands fall off, and then my promise is I'll use my nose. And I've used my nose already, but my hands are still here. So I noticed that my schedule was getting really light, and it's not a money thing. Like that doesn't freak me out because of a money thing. It's time, money, energy, right? Like those are the three commodities. It freaks me out because I feel like I'm not in fair exchange with the universe if I'm not serving chiropractic, because I promised that I would do that. I promised that I would be an ambassador. So if I look at my calendar and it's really light, I feel like I'm not doing my part. And I thought, how can I make it so that this is truly what happened? The subluxation was, which in our language with biogeometric integration, or BGI, a subluxation is just potential waiting to take off, right? It's like the horse in the stall. Just come on, open up the gate. Ready. So the subluxation was, I wanted to figure out a way to have my schedule full without me having to look at it ever. And I thought, well, how do you do that? The people who already have established trust with me as their chiropractor, I want to give them a way to be on my schedule without me having to bother them. So we created a system for priority scheduling. And the priority scheduling, it's a win-win-win. This is the way that it's been since I started writing Staffless, like the next thing and the next thing. And I promise you, Amy, it's been true for you too. The next thing just keeps showing up as long as I commit to the path of being of service, right? I love you.
Love you. Thanks for having me.
That was fun. And I'm going to end the live stream. Please don't go anywhere, Amy. Okay. For those of you watching, go make the world better with great care. Amy, how do they get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
www.bgieuropeseminars.com.
There it is, guys. Loving you from here. Go make the world better with great care, and we'll talk soon.